Check this out. Indonesia is often obscured by cloud cover, but an astronaut aboard the International Space Station seized the opportunity of a storm-free day to photograph half the length of Indonesia's main island chain. It's not only incredible because of the view, but also because the image managed to capture 7 simultaneous volcanic eruptions, 6 of which are happening on the island of Java, the most populated island in the world. As a somewhat pale European, I clearly remember seeing my first volcanic eruption. It was fascinating, and yet nothing incredible. Following a number of earthquakes and seismic activity on the 30th of September 2017, 122,000 people were evacuated from their homes surrounding the Agung volcano in Bali. Management authority declared a 12-kilometer exclusion zone. As the eruption intensified over the next week, 2 of the local airports were temporarily shut down. The silly traveler in me said this was great, stuck on an island during a volcanic eruption. Unsurprisingly, my mother didn't agree. "Leave now," she said. As a good mother, she was overestimating the danger. The only casualty was Bali's tourist industry, which apparently suffered a brief 30% decline. But my mother, just like most Westerners, would never under any circumstance live next to an active volcano. Who in their right mind would do that? The Republic of Indonesia is a country in Southeast Asia between the Indian and Pacific Oceans. It consists of over 17,000 islands. And it's the world's largest archipelagic state and the 14th largest country by area, making it a tiny bit smaller than Mexico. And with over 275 million people, Indonesia is the world's 4th most populous country, containing the island of Java, the home to more than half of the country's population. Just look at this nighttime light pollution map. The island is lit up like a lava lake, especially when compared to its surroundings. Indonesia has the most volcanoes of any country in the world, at least 130 of which are active. As a result, volcanoes are one of the most prevalent natural disasters in the country. The most active of the volcanoes are Kelut and Mount Merapi, both of which are located on the island of Java. Over 350,000 people live within kilometers of Kelut, and Merapi is located in one of the most densely populated parts of Java, with over 11,000 people living just on its slopes. The perilous future of living next to these giants does not trouble the locals one bit, because they know their history and they have accepted it. Indonesians are used to calamity. Indonesia has lurched from one disaster to another since independence, never quite recovering before the next one hits, and a good deal of human-induced upheaval as well, in the shape of revolution, rebellion, and retribution. They have become stoic to a fault, but also jaded and despondent, as there isn't much that they can do about it. In 1815, the giant eruption of Mount Tambora, a stratovolcano, had such a large effect on the climate that the following year in Europe was known as the year without summer. Some 40 kilometers cubed of ash were produced as a result of the eruption. An estimated 90,000 people were killed, about 10,000 directly from eruption, and about 80,000 from crop loss and famine. And in 1883, you had the catastrophic eruption of Krakatoa, a volcanic island in Lampung. The resulting tsunamis killed about 36,000 people, and approximately 2/3 of the original island was destroyed. And this is the incredible Lake Toba. It's about 100 kilometers long, 30 kilometers wide, and up to 505 meters deep. It is the largest lake in Indonesia and the largest volcanic lake in the world. It is the site of a supervolcanic eruption that occurred some 77,000 years ago. The largest known explosive eruption on Earth in the last 25 million years. It has been accepted that the eruption led to a volcanic winter with a worldwide decrease in temperature between 3 and 5 Celsius. And some studies in Lake Malawi in East Africa have shown significant amounts of ash being deposited from the Toba caldera eruptions. That is a distance of over 7,200 kilometers. Yet, knowing the dangers, people choose to live so close and have remarkably little fear. The USA, with a total of about 169 active volcanoes, has only a few thousand people living near them, in part because most of them are situated in Alaska. By comparison, in Indonesia, it is estimated that as many as 10 million people live next to active volcanoes. The hard truth is that most often, people stay because they have little or no choice. For agricultural communities, developing on volcanic land can be very rewarding. To earn a living, they must stay put. And this doesn't go just for volcanoes, but for areas prone to tsunamis and flooding. Coasts and river floodplains are good for fishing and farming, while valley and volcanic soils are fertile. But there's also a cultural and religious aspect that helps the population accept their predicament. People living close to volcanoes usually have rituals to worship their volcanic masters. Most of Indonesia's volcanoes have spiritual significance to one group of people or another. Nearly every one has a myth and a supernatural being associated with it. Many are honored with festivals and offerings by local people. Being Muslim has not stopped the Javanese from practicing volcano worship. Old beliefs like the volcano gives you everything, and the volcano takes it back. This sort of reasoning gives the people additional fortitude to face danger. Volcanoes stand at the heart of a complicated set of mystical beliefs that grip millions of Indonesians. Their peaks attract holy men and pilgrims. Their eruptions are meant to predict political change and social upheaval. You might say that in Indonesia, volcanoes are a cultural cauldron in which mysticism, modern life, Islam, and other religions mix. In Java, there is a ritual known as Yadnya Kasada of the Tenggerese people, an ethnic subgroup of the Javanese. The ritual serves as a way of expressing appreciation to their gods, whom they believe have granted them with blessings, abundance, and welfare. The Tenggerese live in some 60 villages surrounding the Tengger Mountains, including the ever-active Mount Bromo. The origin of this festival is a legend that dates back to the fall of Majapahit Kingdom. Princess of the kingdom and her husband took refuge in the upper slopes of Mount Bromo. The couple and their followers settled in the Tengger Mountains and ruled the region. But the couple were not happy as they remained childless after many years of marriage. Therefore, they meditated atop Mount Bromo, beseeching the mountain gods for assistance. The gods granted them 24 children on the condition that the 25th child must be thrown into the volcano as sacrifice. It's a bargain, I guess. The gods' request was observed, and so the tradition of offering sacrifices thrown into the volcano to appease the deities continues until today. Chickens, goats, and vegetables, as well as cash, are accepted instead of humans. Often locals clamber down into the crater to retrieve the sacrificed goods in daring rescue attempts, trying to stop the items from falling into the crater. This is in fact encouraged, as it's meant to bring good luck. A 2014 study from Princeton University looked at migration between provinces in Indonesia. They found temperature and precipitation to be an important factor. Natural disasters, on the other hand, such as tsunamis, volcanoes, and earthquakes, were not statistically significant. And the people who had been relocated due to natural disasters almost always came back as soon as the calamities were over. As often is the case, people need help when calamities do arise, and understanding just how unwilling people are to abandon their homes because it's their livelihood is important, especially when they have families to feed. Often during forced evacuations, livestock owners will sneak back to their homes in order to feed their animals, even during eruptions. For this reason, the Indonesian government has incorporated evacuation plans for livestock. Volcanoes and various calamities also play a direct role in politics, as it's a given that human folly can trigger natural disasters as cosmic votes of no confidence, a fact which the country's former president, Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono, is painfully aware of. Just a few months into his presidency, a chain of calamities occurred all around Indonesia. Many people lost their lives. It was not a good look for the new president. Then an unknown entity started a chain text message imploring the new president to perform a ritual to stop the calamities. Mr. President, it read, please sacrifice 1,000 goats. The president publicly refused, saying, even if I sacrifice 1,000 goats, disasters in Indonesia will not end. Many following calamities were attributed to him. In Indonesia, it seems, nature is still perceived as a living entity with the capacity and inclination to affect the lives of mortals. I'm curious, are you from Indonesia? Do you find that many of your peers or the older generations still hold such beliefs? Leave a comment. Now, if you want to hear more about life and volcanoes and visit some cool places, then check out my video on the Kurills. This is my Patreon map. Everyone pictured here has contributed significantly to the well-being of this channel. Thank you. Now, if you'd like to reserve your spot on this map, then get in touch on Patreon or send me a message. Have a guess where this footage was taken, and I will see you soon. Cheer Perspective out.